Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's a great rising for some. It's a good morning for others. So, in order to have balance, say both and see how it covers. Because in reality, just thinking about it, think about the things we get attached to. Nice little announcements while I load this up. Think about the things that we get attached to when we come into our self. Remember, it's about us ultimately achieving balance. Away from the aspects of needing an attachment and coming into that divine flow of our connection. It's very cool that this week that we started with, the first card that I pulled was after completion. Or after completion. That means after you go through that shift of understanding your authentic self. And the card that I pulled today was before completion. Great rising, great rising. The card that I pulled today was before completion. Remember, in that circle effect, in that spiral staircase that represents the aspects of you, if there are a lot of ends, if you find yourself repeating a lot of endings, it's time to check the energy and the focus of what is fueling that very day. And I thought about it. Why would I get upset if someone told me good morning? Why would I get upset if somebody told me good morning? Just think about it. Why would you be upset if someone told you good morning? We can intellectually say good morning, they talking about the dead and we trying to rise. But in a true aspect, But in true aspect, in order to awaken, you must first die. In order to awaken, you must first die. I want y'all to think about that. In order for you to awaken, you must first die. In the inside. So the next time somebody tells you the next time somebody that you know that may not be in the level that you're at or be in that space that you at tells you good morning, I want you to think about it. Tell them good morning back. Take into your mindset of the next time you hear someone say good morning, what do I need to let die today? Which I do I need to let die today? Which personality do I need to let die today? Which aspect of myself, in order for me to go forward, do I need to let die today? And then you now transmute the energy of good morning. Now you're going to transmute the energy. Everything down here is food. You can't go back and forth when you're trying to bring yourself into balance and sit there and say, I don't want this or I don't want that. The only reason you don't want it or you say it doesn't desire it is because now you're denying food on your own plate. Think about what Big Mama said, or your grandmother or your mother said. If you don't eat what I cook, then you ain't eating. That's everything that's coming onto your plate is something that you need within that space. So take that thought, take that little tidbit. The next time someone tells you good morning, what do you need to mourn? What do you need to release or let die in that day? And then you're transmuting the energy of a good morning. Instead of you going back and forth, like, nah, we don't good morning over here, we rise over here. You gotta die before you rise. That seed, the seed has to die for the flower to sprout. So what you mad at? Triggers. If it's triggering you, you may need to do that work. Got some work to do. Did I trigger you? And go watch that SNL Dave Chappelle monologue. It's on YouTube. When he talked about nigga, come get your nigga lessons. Ooh, did I trigger you? That's your job, is to trigger motherfuckers and to set those triggers to come back into you. But let's get into this before completion. I remember back in the day, my grandmother and my aunts would always say, while you waiting in the hallway for the next door to open, praise him in the hallway. And I thought about it. Actually when I was walking away from the bathroom. I thought about it. I was like, what is my definition of praise? Praise is the aspect of me working on my manifestation. Grand rising. Me working on my manifestation. So while I'm waiting for my next space or my next highlighted path, or what's next in my path to come in, I need to start working in that hallway, in that records of my hallway, to address what I need to address before I step into what I step into. This is one of the key steps that a lot of us get into when we're moving forward, when we're doing our shadow work, working on ourselves. We get stuck on the emotional impulse. I've been talking about that ever since last week. We get stuck on that emotional impulse to keep moving forward based on that mindset of that grand rising. Based on that aspect of that insight of, I want to get to the next level. Sometimes the reason that you're in that space is to come into that before completion. I'm going to read the gate card. The gate of the day is before completion. If you would like to see all the videos of the completion series that we are working on, they're on my YouTube channel at G.O.D Alkhemist. G.O.D Alkhemist is the YouTube channel. Also for the Friday night lectures, because this week we get into assimilation. Assimilation of the simulation. Can't take any more in if you haven't let nothing go. But yes, let's get into before completion, shall we? Before completion. Transition, like birth, requires a determined strength for the passage through, making sense of the past through reflection. Confusion is simply pressurized mental activity. So whenever you're coming into that state, we're so used to being in this state of pressure being our build, that pressure of lack, that pressure of struggle, that pressure of heartache, that pressure of pain. We're so used to using that as our catalyst for us to move forward. We're so used to making that the anchor for us to move forward and do our work. I have to come from a space of lack in order for me to get better. I have to come from this space of heartache in order for me to get better. Why? Remember, how you start is how you end. In any relationship, especially the relationship with your old self. Let's get into that relationship. Remember, I've been talking about that shadow. Everything leads back to the shadow work. So that the way that your relationship began with yourself is the way that your relationship ended with yourself, technically, because you came in on your ending, is the way that your new relationship is going to begin. That's that pattern. Until you realize that the way that you started is the way that you began, the way that you're ending is the way that you're always going to begin, you never catch the pattern. You'll keep doing the same cycle over and over and over again, because that even goes even deeper. We're going to go deeper into that assimilation. But when you're going into that space, you have to think about it like this. What was the original setting? Everything, I'm going to use an example. If at, we'll say 16 years old, you got your license. So that means the celebration would be 16 years old when your pops got his license or your mother got their license or whatever. So you carry on this tradition that at 16 you think it's time for you to get your license. In Puerto Rico, you can get your license when you're 13. In certain states, you can get your license when you're like 14, 15. So when you're looking at your space, it's solely your environment that you're focused. You put so much focus on the environment in your space that you tend not to look at the things around you that can help you expand. So when you're going into this aspect of your new transition, you coming into this rebirth phase, you're not using everything as food, because everything on that plate is food. So now, just like when we started this, I was like, the next time someone tells me good morning, I'm going to say good morning back, because I'm going to transmute that energy into what I need to kill off today. What aspect of me do I need to kill off? Before I come into this next phase of my next completion, what do I need to kill off? Instead of me getting stuck in a trigger of like, don't tell me good morning, you know that's a slick. Besides the point. Once you understand it, you manipulate that spell. It's time to dispel that it's time to dispel from the repressed narrative of that lacking, of that struggle, of that pain, of those torments, and time to address those as they become triggered. That's the only way that you're going to awaken yourself in that true enlightenment phase. There's so many people right now, yes, feel that confusion. Because all that, like, confusion isn't bad. Confusion is going to be that state that you guys got some mental buildup that you need to address. Just like when you feel in that strong amount of doubt. What is that? We talked about that earlier in the week. When you're having that strong feeling of doubt, what is that doubt leading you to? What are you doing? What do you do when you're in deep doubt? Who do you talk to? Who do you have conversations with? What pit stops do you make before you get to the crib? What pit stops do you make before you go to work? What pit stops do you make before you get to your girl house? What pit stops do you make before you get to your guy house? Or your secret friend? Whatever it may be. What pit stops do you make before going to that space? What's stopping you is you. You got to embrace the doubt. You got to surrender to that doubt. You got to surrender to the guilt. You got to surrender to the embarrassment. You have to surrender to these triggers so you can start transmuting through them in order to learn what the original repressed thought was. What left you in that state of repression that you feel like somebody's always after you. Stop using the external, because it's easy to put it on the external. Yeah, man, cause you know we in America and we got enemies in America. I ain't got no fucking enemies. I have no competition. I have no enemies. I have no competition. I'm aware of the distractions that if I attach to, then yeah, they become reflections of the enemy within me. But other than that, I have no competition. I have no enemies. If I stay in that mindset, that means I'm only creating based on that narrative point. That means before I can come into a full state of my completion to start my next phase, I'm always going to be looking for something over my shoulder, around the corner. I'm always going to be looking for it. Looking you shall find. Study all and follow none. One of my favorite mantras. Study all and follow none. Are you going to be in this constant state of the world is against me so I can't get nothing done? The world is against me so I can't get nothing done? Or are you going to sit there and so that's going to be the point that's going to hit you. That's going to be the point that's going to keep you down. So now you're going to go from 25 to 35 to 46 to 65 carrying that same mantra, not realizing that it's all coming from a same repressed point. I've talked about it before when we talk about the aspects of whatever trauma happened in your life, the list of traumas that happened in your life, your development, your emotional development stops. That means the ability for you to cultivate your energy, to be able to cultivate and bring your energy into balance stops. So if you were 12 years old when something happened to you that was bad, you really need to go back. When we do the shadow work, when we do that shadow work consultation, you go back to that point. You'll understand that you grew physically. You may have grew a little bit mentally based on the intellectual aspect. You may have grew a little bit in financially. You may have grew in a couple of areas on the external, but the internal or the main point, the spirit, is the emotional. So if your emotions are out of balance, that's why you got chaotic spirits around you. That's why the spirits be chaotic. You ain't getting that right energy. You ain't having the consistency. So then it trickles down. If my spirit's not right, therefore my energy's not in balance, therefore then my consistency's off, therefore my discipline to my consistency's off, therefore me getting my emotions in balance are still out of balance. That's emotional maturity. We got used to being under that pressure of being like, only when I'm sad can I get something in a result. Only when I'm extra angry do I get results. Only when I yell to the top of my lungs do I get results. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there in the stillness, sitting here looking like my man Buddha, that's sitting in the stillness, looking at myself, reflecting through my day, because I have time to actually reflect through the day. Because I took because you're taking that time to be honest with yourself and cultivate your day. Build your day. How do you start your day? I always give people this question. How do you start your day? I start my day, as soon as my alarm go off at 5 o'clock, I'm tucking and rolling Mission Impossible out the bed, and I'm in meditation. Yesterday, I talked about, like, I gave myself a nice hug. Gave myself a hug while I was meditating, taking them deep breaths in, because I felt, the Spirit said it felt like I needed a hug. Today, I feel like I'm in the state, like, when I started my meditation today, I did a nice little, I just held myself, put my hands like this. This is one of my usual poses when I do a meditation. I did a nice womb meditation. Didn't even realize it, because I didn't realize the music that was playing in the background. But I just moved with the wave. Something just told me to do it just like this. Started my day, got ready for the gym. Yes, that's the major principle. Started my day, grabbed my smoothie, grabbed my water, grabbed my bottle, and was out the door to the gym. I was at the gym by like 6:15. I'm starting my workouts earlier. Sweated out, gym alchemy. Started my work, gym alchemy. Everything is alchemy. I use my gym alchemy, like everything from the mantras that I say to myself while I'm lifting, or while I'm doing my squats, or while I'm doing my reps. Everything to what I'm listening to, whether I'm listening to Kevin Gates or I'm listening to some binaural beats. I know I'm cooking something up in that space. There's a purpose for me to be there. This is how you start aligning your energy into that space, so you can embrace the victory of the learning points. This is how you're going to come into that space, and you're going to start promising to yourself, I promise today, I promise that today I'm going to give myself 15 minutes. Therefore, now the next day, I promise that I gave myself 15 minutes yesterday. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes today. Now you're making those promises to yourself. Whatever you do to yourself, whatever you do for yourself, you're going to start seeing that reflection outside of you. First is going to be the negative aspects falling away. That means the things that will not let you get 15 minutes to yourself, or the things that you need to address, because the things that you need to address, like, I need to take 15 minutes to myself. If it's like grown-ass adults but I need this, say, I need to take 15 minutes to myself. If you have kids, tell them, like, I'm taking 15 minutes to myself. Matter of fact, don't sit there and make them feel bad. Tell your child to sit down beside you while you take that 15-minute meditation. You want to give them the best. You're giving yourself the best. In reflection, now you have a chance to give them the best. This is how you start stimulating that space and start assimilating that new energy into that space that you deserve. You say that you deserve something, define what you deserve within yourself. You say that you want the best and you want that love, speak it to yourself. Bring it into yourself. You have no enemy. The veil, like everybody's been talking about all week, the veil's been lifted. There's no more enemies. Everything's being seen. Dave Chappelle said it in the SNL skit. Tell the white people to come get their nigga lessons. In the aspects of seeing themselves as them, hiding themselves and seeing themselves for what they are, everything's in your favor. Why are you? There should be no need for a debate to be like, but nah, he said this, and take that information in and you can take a deeper understanding. I watched a couple weeks ago, somebody was getting mad at somebody was in a group talking about, nah, man, we supposed to be androgynous, and that don't mean this, or some argument about being androgyny in the aspect of the physical attachment to it. I was like, all right, whatever, that don't, yeah. I looked at it, took some information from it. They put up some good arguments. They had some good key points, so I just took them key points, and then if it made sense to me, I took it and walked on about my business. This ain't for you. The human attachment ain't for you. Stop coming into that space thinking that whatever it may be, and actually it's time for us to start doing that work. Get that work done. The next time someone tells you good morning, ask yourself, like, what do I need to kill off today? What do I need to work on or allow to fall away? That way you transmute that energy of that good morning. Because they mean you the best. They don't know anything else. Just because you know, now you can use it. It's about you validating it to yourself. It's not about you sitting there having an argument, because I did that shit like 4 years ago, arguing with motherfuckers about telling me good morning. It's the same thing as a motherfucker telling you Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas or Happy Valentine's Day or whatever it is. How are you using the energy? If you know Valentine's Day was about a fucking massacre, what aspects are you what things are you killing off in order for you to embrace the love of your heart? What things are you pulling from? What old heartstrings are you pulling away? Use it as your energy. That's how you're going to come into that state of your completion in order to come into your rebirth. Stop trying to hit people with that, oh my God, you said that no. It doesn't hold weight anymore. You'll never come into your awakened phase as long as you have that mindset in your mind of something more. Somebody owes me this. I can't do this until this person gives me this. I'm not going to do this. Think about how you locking yourself down. The only way to assimilate the new aspects of yourself is to first release the repressed. G.O.D, Alkhemist, the YouTube channel. G.O.D, Alkhemist, the YouTube channel. We're getting into assimilation tomorrow. We get into the assimilation of character. Tomorrow's lecture. Friday, y'all stay tuned for the link coming up. This week's podcast, God Hour Podcast, available on Spotify, iTunes, and all them good spaces. This week we got into Full Circle, that spiral, the spiral effect of to the authentic self. And all this week we've been doing Gate Talk. If you're interested within services, from the readings to setting up a shadow work consultation to get that work done, chakra balancing therapy, whatever it is. If it's resonating with you, like I need to get some work done, I know I need to get some work done, hit me up. G.O.D Alchemist, hit me in the inbox, or you can hit me at GODCalledAlchemistLLC.com. Also, stay tuned because I'm gonna be putting out the Occult Alchemist book club and study group joint, the monthly subscription thing. I'm gonna put out that information throughout the day, throughout this week, because we're gonna be building on that. I want you to be the fucking best. I desire you to be the best you. I desire you to embrace that love of yourself. I desire for you to embrace the vulnerability and allowing yourself to open up to heal. Because that's what I require. That's what I desire of myself in that reflection. I desire you to become the best and grow. I love you. We love us. Ashe.